Hi, everybody. Hopefully, this is coming through. Let me double check. Always got to check my stream. Am I coming through loud? Yep, coming through. Okay, enough of that nonsense. How many years has it been? 5 plus 6 years of me doing this, and I still make a mistake every once in a while when it comes to live streaming. But as I was just telling my friend, and I reiterate to you, whoever's watching, these are my public diary entries, and so I feel quite all right messing up. But I don't want to make it a boring viewing experience. Let's say that. So here, let me lay it out for you very quickly. We'll probably talk about two things today, but the matter at hand, we have ourselves a fully rigged, not the best rigged, but fully rigged Terry the Triceratops. Here we can see her in lovely EV. We can also see her in cycles. How does she look in cycles? Not so bad in cycles. I haven't done a ton of work in terms of texturing her, but I will say that she's been through the ringer in terms of starting out first in Gravity Sketch, getting imported into Nomad Sculpt, which is on the iPad, so that I could do all these lovely little like texturing, light texturing, but make sure she was still low poly enough. And then what else? And then bring her into Blender. So, um, and then from there, the just 2 days of me wrangling with her to figure out, well, why is the mesh not gelling well with this specific rig? So the way this rig, by the way, comes about, let me just take this away for a second. You'll see the original rig right here. And that is a very simple quadruped rig that you can find. Let me go back to object within the armatures under basic. I wanted to keep it super simple. But even super simple is not super simple in Blender. There's just no such thing in life. Okay, so I'm going to check that off. And this is my functional rig. And even tonight, I had to do the work of figuring out why was this not working the way I needed to. Like everything was offset. So I can open up the last file. I don't know why. Again, public diary entry. So I'll just share with you all the horrors of rigging. And by the way, I will always say that I very much respect the art of rigging, because it's just whenever I watch an animated film now, any animated film or anything with visual effects, I'm just like, how in the fuck did you do that? Because it is so much. I theorize it's a lot of obviously knowledge of anatomy, but then you're talking about every kind of anatomy, and especially when they're made up creatures, what are you even basing that off of? So yeah. Like, look at this. Like, you can see all these little concentric circles. Let me bring this to the front so it's a little easier for you all to see. There you go. You can see that beautiful mess. And I don't know what happened in the as I was animating her, she got more and more messy as time went on, meaning the rig itself got messier and messier. I've never seen that happen. It was great at first. Okay, so that kind of brings us tonight. I want a little bit more of this. I want more twerking action, twerking, because that's sort of what I've decided that Terry does in her free time. And she's got that donk. So let's do a little of that. I don't know how far I'm going to get. It's quite hot here. I just did some Beat Saber to loosen up the joints and kind of find some flow state. Which brings us to the whole description that I put down, which is this is my first live stream post AWE conference, which is I'm guessing North America's largest VR conference or one of their largest VR conferences. And for me, it's basically like a big reunion with my community and getting to see people and hug them and The only real downside of it is that, and it's not a downside, it's just the sadness of not being able to spend more time with everybody. It's very ADD. It's like fly by night. You're just like doing drive by hugs and high fives and fist bumps, and it's very fleeting. And I wish I had more time with the people I cared about to have real one on one conversations, because that's truly um, the beauty of life for me, is like having those special spaces to commune. Okay, so as I said, so I'm back to my animated version, and I rejiggered the rig to be slightly more symmetrical to the body. It's not perfect, as you can see from the top, this isometric view from the top, but it's better. And then I'm going to work a little bit on my timing and maybe just only focus on a few body parts, especially the booty, because I think it's super fun to work on that. So I'll just show you really quick here. So we're in pose mode. This is kind of almost like a global. Actually, the box is really like a global element, whereas the hip, as you can see, there's rig layers and the whole bit. So when this works, it works super well, and I'm very happy when it works really well. But again, like all things Blender, it's tough to develop muscle memory for it. Meaning, it's very easy to forget a process that you may have worked on. And okay, there we go. So let's do that. Let's set down some ground rules here. Going up. Let me see how this feels. Going back. Actually, no. Not only am I not a professional rigger, I'm also not a professional character designer, and I never purport to be. But I think this kind of comes to the whole thing about one of the things I will always preach, but I got to talk about on the panel, was how the role of play is very essential to my creative flow. And so even me doing the Beat Saber a little earlier is a way for me to sort of unwind and get my mind in a very facile, childlike state, so I can do this. I could do this live stream with you all, and just not get too stuck, if that's the way. Because as I just chronicled to you earlier, it's very easy to get stuck and just want to not deal with the thing. But there's this very masochistic need in me to want to finish and want to wrangle something until it gets done. But the question is, why do I do it? Why do I continue? What 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 motivates me through it? And I think it's always getting to points like this. To me, this is play. Am I a pro at this? Nope. There are a lot of things I can improve on in terms of timing and breakdowns of poses and things like that. But I love the doing of it, and I think that is really important to emphasize. It's like, are you able to find your, you know, wait, let me just see this from the back. Why is it so much more emphasized on one side than the other? That's weird. See that? It's like more, speaking of breakdowns, like that's a real, like, big ol' pose to the, and I think it's because of the way the rig is aligning with things. Okay, let me just put a little bit more push pull into that. Going for a real, like, kind of Jane Fonda look. Oh, another thing I have to remember how to do is repeat cycles, but I might not, because I might want different types of twerkage, if that's a noun we're using. Let me see how this is going. Oh yeah, things are going great here. Am I actually live on 5 there too. Great. Great, 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 great. Let me shut everything down. I know that I'm going. Oh, so I added little hyperlinks too. Great. So again, it's very easy for me to. So the last round with animation with this got really messy because I started focusing on 4 different things at once, and let's just focus on the hips, maybe a little of the box action here, and maybe the tail, just so we can just have a little bit of. If I was even more prepared, I would have probably had a music track set up, like Sean Paul's "Shake That Thing" or something like that. What a ridiculous thing to animate. I truly didn't think that this would be the way it was going, by the way. This was not my plan. But, hey, that's part of the play. Again, like originally I was thinking, oh, it's absolute Terry is still absolutely part of this whole like emotional support dinosaur idea that I have, and eventually I want to make a chill, cozy space for her to just like hang out, twerk at her own twerk at her own leisure. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm wondering if this will help me a little bit. So let me go back to my. And as you can see, this can get super confusing very quickly when you start seeing like the X-ray version of this. So I'm going to not hide it, but where is the? Yeah, that way I can just kind of focus on what I'm seeing from the major masses. Uh-huh. Okay. The the tail is super fun to play with, by the way. I will say that. Okay, so that happens there. So what if I do a little slide with the feet about the 15 point here? Wonder if that gives it some. Oof. Oh yeah, I better get that back to where it was. Yeah, it's very easy to be almost a little too exaggerated with some of the. I think I went a little crazy with that with this extreme pose. Wait, let's see why that's happening. Okay, so let's put that back around here. Oh, you know what I can do? I can do that. Yeah, that's what we want. We want a little bit more of that. And then we want a little bit more this. And so this is why I wonder whether or not things went off course is when I was starting to rotate things more than I should, but no, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to poo-poo that. I'm going to see how that feels. Boom, 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 boom. It's like a metronome. Wait, something's missing here. I need a in between pose. It's a little too boomerangy. Yeah, it should be. It should be. It should be. Wait, why is it? I want it to get down. Be like that. Let's see. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Whoa, whoa, what's going on there? I didn't ask for all that. I didn't ask for all that jazz. Okay, there. Nope. No, 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 no. Just this. Just this. So you can see that it's actually doing a pretty good job of easing in and out. Boom, 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 boom. Actually, it's less twerking than it is sort of just a back and forth hip slide, but it's still pretty cute. All right, there you go. Boom, 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 boom. Maybe I do that for like 100 frames. How's that looking? I have a camera in the back. That's what you see roving there. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, it's kind of tearing through the clothing, as you can see, so I have to be a little careful of that. That left foot is going a little nuts, so I need to also. Yeah, it's really going super hypermobile there with that left foot. The right foot is fine though. I have a suspicion it's something to do with the fact that these are offset, these little doohickeys. Foot heel. Yeah, that's definitely not where the foot heel is. Foot heel right, foot heel left. So that technically should be in a different spot. And I think that's why that's happening. Okay, so I think once I'm happy with that, let's just say, okay, while that's going one way, I feel like the tail should be going the other way. So we get some nice complementary action, yeah? And then I also have to handle this foot issue. Wait, let me see where this is. So that's 15 through 25. 15 through 25. By the way, this is probably not the best way for me to be animating. I've just gotten very used to it. There's, of course, the non-linear NLA strips here, which is even more unnerving for me to work with. Yeah, you can see the rig action is there. There's graph editors. There's the dope sheet. Dope sheet's fine. Why don't I work with the dope sheet? Okay. 15 through 20, right? 15 through 25. So there's that. Why don't we start from there when it gets kind of crazy? Yup. Oh, oh. It's so ridiculous. Oh, I think oh wait. See, even I'm getting confused by where things should be going. Nope, 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 nope. Here? Yeah. So you see what I'm doing. I'm kind of just nice little slide, 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 slippity slide. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'll work on those rights and lefts later. I don't feel like doing the offset math right now. Let's work on the tail next. So what was I saying? I want it to be the opposite side, right? So let's start. Where do we actually start the animation? I think it's right here. Yeah, so the 10 mark is kind of where things start getting cray-cray. So let's start for 10 here. This is great too, by the way. Look at this. Isn't that awesome? Like you have a little controller here. Hee hee. Another way I'm like trying to treat my inner kid is like I have little snackies and things to incentivize me to go forward. Oh, so what else do I want to say about AWE? Great to see friends, as always. Mildly cool to see some of the hardware demos and experiences. I honestly 75% of the reason I go is for the people. 25% is the whimsy of it all, you know? Like the things you kind of discover, the people you come across, strangers you may have never met before, and the kind of I don't know. For me, it's always that. It's always kind of like interactions, and yes, there is networking, but I don't go in there with a this clear cut idea of like, oh, I'm going to hit up this thing. Other than to you know, wait, let me just make sure I know what I'm doing here. So let's say, do I want to move that way or this way? Hold up. Oh, it did not take that. Okay, hold up. Now remember, I'm only looking at this from one axis, so I have to constantly be like playing with this. Now, mind you, this is a little bit. Okay. So, all right, let's now. Let me again. It's really easy for me to get off course. But the directional nature of this makes me feel like, oh, I could move it, like a joystick, but it doesn't really operate that way when I'm actually pressing the shortcut key. So I'm a little bit surprised that it's not working the way I thought it would. It's only unidirectional and not in every direction. So I feel like, by the way, you can turn these things off, which is really interesting. Ooh, tail follow. Ooh, tell me more. Okay, so what happens if I turn all the way up? Did that really change anything? I mean, did it? Oh. Oh no, it does. Just not as drastic as I thought it would be. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. I appreciate that, Rigify. Okay, anyways, going back to the plan. Whoa, whoa, why is this all? Whoops. I got to learn a line dance at a after party, and for someone who loves to dance, I mean, even for the brief moment that I got to do it, I was, yeah, it was just joyful to be able to have a moment like that. Again, like everything else, I wish it were longer. Um, and I wish it was something I could do all the time, uh, but it hasn't been easy to. Okay, let's see how that feels. It's kind of getting there. I feel like it could even be more, speaking whimsical, a little bit more. Maybe is this going to help? Let me see. Oh, okay, there's that. There's that. Okay, wait. Dum, dum, one, two, two, and then there's this layer below. As you can see, I'm kind of trying to offset this as much as possible, so you kind of have like multiple kind of layered animation happening. Let's take a look. Not too bad. How are we doing on time here? I feel like yeah. 30 minutes is usually my cutoff time for myself because I feel that's kind of a good point where I don't get too crazy just talking to myself this whole time. Um, and I think this booty is kind of overstaying its welcome. But maybe the one last thing we can do is play with the head a bit. Because again, I will touch all these parts later when I'm doing this on my own. Again, I do see the tearing here. I'll have to fix that later. Oh, by the way, the weight painting on this was also slightly nightmarish. So it's not just the rigging, it's the weight painting too. What do you choose? Like when this was first rigged, the glasses weren't even in the equation, meaning that the glasses were not going along with the head, and appendages are always a thing. Like anything that's like sticking out like this or appendage, just accessories, tough. Okay. How about if I start here? Oh, you know what's good is this is the chest. Maybe it could be like a slight bump. Starting here. Oh, and we can do it very like that. Just a slight. Just slightly like that. And then back to the front like so. Wait. Wait, everything is happening so fast on the back. I need to keep track of where. Oh, right. I am actually. But it is over 10 frames, right? Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, like I'm really only animating three properties here. It's the three parts of the rig. It's the chest, it's the tail, which to be fair is three parts. It's in itself, and then the hips. And that already is doing quite a bit of work. And then of course timing is a huge part of this, right? So boom, boom, boom. So how about if I multiply that a few times, see how that feels. Again, I have to work on those slides, I know. That's gonna help a little bit. It's a little slower than it should be, the head. Huh? What you think? Let me just see this in. I don't want it to be too frenetic either. But again, let me check this out. Okay, no, that is actually pretty great. So boom, 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 boom. I just want a little bit of a head bob. Nothing crazy. I might need to add some jiggliness to this right here. See, like whenever it's like boom, 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 you gotta feel the heft of the twerkage. All right, I think I'm gonna leave it here. I think I've done enough damage tonight. I've been rambling enough. AWE was great overall. I look forward to do it again next year if I get invited back. Overall, wonderful experience. Great traveling with friends. Um, what else can I tell you? I think if anything you get out of this stream, or I get out of this stream, and I've been thinking about it a lot, especially in the context of all things AI. Um, I think I'm pretty diehard about embracing the imperfection and the wrangling and the pain to a large degree. And I want to emphasize that no, we shouldn't all be just like mired in process and um, you know, I get the need for an assistive aspect to all things AI, but I don't want it doing everything, frankly. And I think it is potentially damaging to the creative process overall when we don't look into the soul of what we do. And for example, me doing this creates so much empathy for how fucking hard it is to do any of this professionally. Um, and I truly do it for the love of, for all my complaining, I really do it for the love of whatever you want to call it, the game, the just the simple act of doing it. You know, and I was talking to a student the other day, you know, who's actively making stuff in XR space and is really enthusiastic. And I remember her, I'm paraphrasing here, but I remember her saying that, you know, whoever it is, the professors or mentors, they're very like stalwart about telling them like, oh well, what? Yeah, you're making this thing, but like, why don't you, you know, focus on something for wellness or healthcare or such and such? Like, there has to be utility to attached to it, and I am very dogged about saying that. I actually think that's somewhat ass backwards. Enjoy the creation of what you're making first. And that again goes back to play. When you're a kid, you're not like sitting there thinking about the long-term trajectory of your the business plan of the thing that you're working on. You know, you're not, that's not why you're there. And I just simply propose that adults are full of shit. And, you know, we need to do a better job of kind of coming back to our heart um and that is a thing I will you know, it's kind of an over my dead body kind of a thing of where, you know what, I'm so I'm also half focused on this. So if I'm not totally in the stream of consciousness of preaching, it's because there's one last thing I might want to work on before I leave. But you get my point. I think there's a balance. There's a balance to be struck, and I don't think we've found that balance yet because it's so early in the game. And I just want to remind people that there's a lot of joy to be had, even in the challenging aspects. And yeah, when I'm up at like 2 in the morning and I'm kind of yelling at the screen and I'm looking for like the right tutorial to guide me through something that's especially frustrating and niche. Yeah, I might tell you something different at the time, but when I've come through it, I can tell you, no, I needed to do that. I needed to kind of get through that. Some reward in it, I guess, is what I'm saying. What's one last thing I want to do here? I feel like there's something, maybe like, because I had the, oh, why is this a thing? Why are these? Okay, no, it isn't a thing. So why don't we throw a bob in there? Okay, so we got the head. Okay, I'm going to offset from there. going to go on the z-axis, just slightly up, come back down, and then, yeah, just a little bit of a thing there. Let's see how that feels. All the way down the line. Little head nod at the back end of that. And let me move that down even a little bit. Let's see what that does. Yeah, just a little bit of a wobble. What up? What up, Terry? Boom, 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 boom. You see it in this. What up? Okay, we're good. I'm saving. I'm signing out for the night. And yeah, hope you all doing well. Be safe in this heat wave. Say that much. Aight. Peace.